so here's another little project I did. This is an area that had some native plants, was regularly mowed or weed whacked, whatever the case may be. And I roped it off because there is a nice planting of stiff goldenrod here. Solidago rigida, I believe. And that plant, from what I've been told, is a threatened or endangered plant in the state of New Jersey. And there were only a couple of plants left. Now over here, there was more, but they have a little boat thing going on, and they needed to mow it. So I dug those plants up, and I transplanted them into a protected area that I have in the park, and they're doing quite well. But all that was left here were a couple. Maybe there were 3 plants left here. And I went to the supervisor. I said, hey, look, this is possibly an endangered species in the state of New Jersey. Can I rope the area off? This guy's great with me. I'm sure they think I'm a nut, but it's beside the point. So now it's a few years, at least a few years. And let me show you something. There are little seedlings coming up all over. Look at this. Look at these. They're beautiful in bloom. I mean, I think they're beautiful just as a plant. Look at all these little plants. Look back here. This is where the original plants were. Isn't that so? This is all stiff goldenrod. Just beautiful. And there's other things in here too. You know, there's some Asclepias tuberosa butterfly weed that is growing here on its own. Nobody planted it, you know. I mean, there's a lot of invasive plants. So I come in here a couple of times a year and weed whack around the edges to keep this mugwort and porcelain berry, Japanese knotweed, to keep it under control. And there's some native grasses in here. This guy right here is Pennisetum gatum, switchgrass. You know, my slow brain takes a little while to get all these names right. And unfortunately, there's some non-native reeds, some Phragmites popping up in between it. I will dig them out because they're growing right in the middle of all this beautiful stiff goldenrod. So anyway, this is just a thing you can do. It's just a little area. I don't know, it's probably about 30 by 20. And there's important native plants in here that need to be protected. There's some Virginia creeper. There's a lot of things in here. There are some fleabane, and there's some little asters, little white asters. I'm not sure which species. But yeah, there's a nice little blue stem grass that it's a beautiful one right here. The skipper butterflies use as a host plant. So it doesn't take much, you know. What did it take me to do? Put a few stakes in and rope and just go, you know, give my spiel to the county park supervisor. Do a lot of physical work, and I have a battery operated weed whacker that's very light. You know, I have to walk maybe 100 yards to get here from where I park, but it's very light. You know, takes me a half an hour to do all around the edges here. So this is something you can do. And yet, you know, I didn't know what this plant was. I was just so attracted to the foliage. And it took me a little while until it actually bloomed. And I put it on iNaturalist. And they said, hey, that's stiff goldenrod. And it's a plant in trouble in New Jersey. So that's how I learned. I used my brain and I learned something, you know. Okay, you could do this too. And plus, you get outside and you get some exercise and you get out of the house and you turn off that stupid cable news, all these stupid shows on TV, you know. Okay, talk to you later. Look at this. That is all stiff goldenrod. Some nice grasses. There's some panica, rigidum. There's also some invasive phragmites. A little bit of it back here. I know there's some milkweed in here. It's interesting. The deer have been eating this a little bit. I'm assuming it's the deer they don't normally eat. So there's just a little section. So there's a lot of invasive plants in here, and I'll have to come in and clean it. There's mugwort back there, and porcelain vine, porcelain berry vine, ampelosus, Japanese knotweed. So I just come in with a weed whacker, and I'll whack all that back at the end of the season. But there are some nice grasses. There's a little blue stem right in here, very nice. My rope has fallen down. There used to be more milkweed in here than there is, but there's not. Here's a little aster, probably aster, Symphyotrichum villosum, some Virginia creeper. And look, new plants. These are new plants of stiff goldenrod coming up. Very nice. Look, a little plant here. So this would have all been gone if I didn't go to the park manager and asked if I could protect it. Lots of little blue stem. Very nice. So what I was saying, this is an area 20 by 10, I guess. And I have it roped off, and I have a little sign in here, please don't mow this. And they've respected that. And some of these native plants that would have been gone are here. So anybody could do this. You just need to know what you're looking at. And I gave the story of the stiff goldenrod in the beginning of this video. I didn't know what it was, but I just knew I liked the foliage. It was very pretty, and I used my brain, and I went online, and I used iNaturalist, and eventually I found out what it was, and I found out that it's an important plant that needs to be protected. So you could do that. Okay, now the stiff goldenrod is blooming. Oligoneuron rigidum. The Latin name used to be Solidago rigidum, but they changed it. So this is the area that I have roped off and protected. We'll take a little closer look. So we've been here in the spring when it was coming so pretty, really nice. And apparently it has become uncommon in New Jersey. Let's go take a look at that patch in the bay. Now, if I hadn't gotten permission and protected this, it would have all been completely mowed. And a lot of it was. This area was like 3 times the size. But at least this has been protected. Beautiful, beautiful flowers. And the bumblebees like it. I'm sure that the monarchs like it. Here's some late boneset blooming with it. Very pretty. So there's a lot of invasives in here. This is all porcelain berry, ampelosus, I think it is. Now, earlier in this video, I showed you I came in here with a shrub trimmer and cut this all back, and this is what it's done in a season. There's a little Canada goldenrod coming through, but I'll have to come back and do it again. It's really aggressive. It's almost like kudzu down south, But anyway, this little patch I've really kept pretty clean. And these are just beautiful, and I'm very happy that I was able to protect these. This is really the first year that they've come into their own. This little area is only a couple of years old, and then there was really nothing here, and then the surviving plants bloomed last year, and then they reseeded. And now there's a good patch, Very nice. This little hoverfly. And there's some native grasses in here. There's some panicum. I know there's a little blue stem, So anyway, there's a stiff goldenrod, and it looks really nice. And this is a success this year. And I took seeds from here last year, and they came up really easily. I planted them last winter, and they came up in the spring, and now I planted some of them in my my pollinator garden.